Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration. Leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Todd Cole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
Welcome to the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. This is Ty, and before we get started, I want you to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another podcast. Really, really important, y'all. Hit that subscribe button. We want you to continue to get this amazing information, and we know you're going to love, I know you're going to love what you're going to hear today, so please share it with someone you believe this will support. And today we're going to be talking about harnessing the power of intention. Now, in the psychedelic world, and from my experience of the psychedelic world, intention is a big buzzword, and it's a source of a lot of controversy. Right? Controversy. Some people are like, yeah, you don't need to have an intention. Having an intention, why do you need to have an intention? Things will just come. And yeah, things will just come. And you can also have an intention. And I can just build a house, and I can have an intention to build a house, right? And when I have an intention, I can kind of direct the information. I can kind of direct myself in a particular direction. And with psychedelics, many people believe that there is no way to direct things. They're going to go where they're going to go, and they are going to go where they're going to go. And you still have the power of influence in your space. And one of the greatest influences, I believe, is the power of intention. And so with the Condor approach and the methods that Cole and I work with, we have what we call the 4 N's process. And we started out going to journeys and being in other people's containers. And we were really adept at supporting people inside those containers with integrating their experiences through asking questions of rhetoric and stuff like that. And so we learned to facilitate inside of experiences. And so we were, when we were working as facilitators, we had amazing results with people, and people didn't understand why. And so we kind of peeled back and we went through our processes to look at what we did. And we came up with this way of teaching people what our process is. And you can plug anything into this process. You can plug psychedelic experiences into this process. You can plug coaching into this process. You can plug teaching golf into this process. It works with everything. And it's a process we call integration. And that integration is 4 N's, right? And so there's the intake process, which is the stuff that you do on the front end, the inventory of the self, the inventory that the practitioner or the facilitator, the trip sitter, the shaman, whatever you want to call it, does on the front end. And then there's the intention setting, which is the second in. Then there's being in the space itself. And then there's the traditional integration, which is the melding of all of your experiences with your day-to-day life. And so the second part is intention. And it's a very, very powerful part. And it doesn't need to take that long in the process. And for us, the intake process is the most lengthy process of supporting a person to kind of stir up the pot and bring the information to the surface. So a person actually knows what they're navigating. Any of their not any of them, but a lot of their blind spots can be brought to the surface through a process of dialing in and doing an intake. And when you have all this information in front of you that you've kind of dredged up from the bottom, maybe, or just not necessarily from the bottom, but you've dredged up deeper than the surface. You can ask people, well, what do you want to do with this? You've found this stuff. You found this circumstance from your childhood, or you found this realization in your relationship through this intake process. What do you want to do with it? What is your intention? What do you want to know, do, be, understand, experience from your psychedelic exploration? What do you want to do with that? And sometimes people get stumped and they're like, I don't know. And we're like, well, take your time. What did you come here for? What did you come for this experience for? What are you going for an experience for? Well, I want to get rid of this trauma. So is your intention to get rid of your trauma? Well, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, that's an intention. And people don't realize that what they're looking for is an intentional space. I just want to go have a psychedelic experience because I want to see God. That's an intention. Well, I want to have a psychedelic experience because I want healing. That's an intention. It's an intention. And whether you recognize it or not, whether you realize it or not, you have an intention. And it's very, very powerful because it can actually direct your experience. And when you're working with a person who's facilitating, right, like a really solid facilitator, and you fall off track from your intention, you don't have to stay on your intention. You can change. Your intention can change in the middle of your experience. It's your experience. So you change what you want to change. And so your facilitator can be like, hey, I'm just checking in. How's it going with your intention? To swing you back around. Because things can get a little scattered in the experience. And if you're looking to be guided, that's one thing. If you're looking to have a free-flowing experience, that's another thing. But if you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for support, and I'm not talking about somebody implanting and inserting things into you and telling you what to do, it's guidance back to your intention. When I speak about guidance, that's what it is. Is this your intention still? Awesome. Do you need support getting back into that? Do you want to go deeper into it? How's your exploration going? And just checking in. That's facilitation. I'm facilitating you in being easier in your intention. It's the same thing with coaching. If I'm coaching you in a space and from my observation, you're kind of deviating from the coaching space, I'm going to ask you, hey, just checking in. Is your intention still the same? Still set up what you said you wanted to create more ease in your life. This doesn't seem to be creating ease. I'm just checking in. Is this part of your intention? No? Okay, well, what's your intention again? Create ease. Okay, so what are the things you need to do to create ease? Well, I need to do this, this, and this. Okay, which one are you going to do first? That's coaching. That's coaching somebody back into their intention. And knowing what someone's intention is tremendously powerful because you can always swing them back around to it when they fall off. And when we live in a world where we have 100 tabs open on our laptops and 15 apps, 20 apps open on our phones. And we have all these people calling us on our phones and messaging and texting. And we have all these different apps like Signal and WhatsApp and Telegram and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Parler and all these things on our phones. And like all these things pulling us in multiple directions. If you have an intention on just one thing, I've been in experiences where my intention was to just relax. What's your intention? Everybody's going through these big opening of this trauma and doing that and exploring God and exploring this and that. And I'm just like, I just want to relax tonight. I just want to relax, or I want to laugh. I want to smile. That's my intention. And it starts there. And so when I speak that into the space, it brings everything else back to me. To reinforce that, when I speak it into the container, everybody in the container knows that that's my intention, so they can bring it back to me. This is getting your container to support your intention. And this is really important when you're coaching people. And I'm talking to my coaches that are listening to this right now. And anybody who coaches anybody at any time. When you swing somebody back to their intention, it's very powerful because it reminds them of their deviation. And that may be a pattern for people. There's always patterns. People always run into patterns. I know I did. I run into patterns of avoidance, run into patterns of burying, run into patterns of being inauthentic. And if my intention is to be authentic, my intention is to be authentic in this coaching relationship. And I find, and something as a coach doesn't align as authentic, I'll be like, hey, something's not aligning for me. Can I bring it to your attention? Always permission. Always permission. You never just, you're being inauthentic. No, hey, something's coming to my attention. This doesn't align with what you said. And this is one of the things that I talk to people about as well when I'm working with them. I say, hey, listen, my intention is to support you in bringing the greatness up and out of you by asking you the questions for you to see yourself. And if anything seems out of alignment, I'd like to know about it. Because I want to make sure that I'm on track with my intention in this relationship. And it's a powerful thing for me to say that to my clients, because it also puts them in a space to know that I'm a human being and I am fallible and that I want to do my best to show up for them. And if I should fall off, because I'm a human and I have personal issues that come up, I'm not infallible. And I have personal issues that come up and I can get distracted. And there may be days where I eat like crap. And maybe days when my water game is off and I'm not hydrated. And so it'll affect my mood and my ability to be cognizant. And for somebody to say to me, hey, listen, this doesn't seem aligned with your intention of supporting me the way you said, or the way you have been. Is this still an aligned relationship? Which brings me back into my coaching space. And this is how we work together. I don't work with people who put me on pedestals and they want to have me in the guru seat and I have to know everything and be perfect at everything. That's not my business. I'm teaching people as I teach myself, and I want to be taught. I learn from all of my clients. And if you think that being a coach is you being above somebody and knowing more than them and having to be better than, then it might be time to reevaluate if you want to coach, because that's a very dicey space of being somebody's dominating teacher or their guru or their dictator, for that matter. You're dictating to them. You're actually literally dictating to them for them to regurgitate something. And I want people, my intention for people is for them to be sovereign in their space and to get to a point where I can eventually learn something from them. Learn something very, very potent, because every person that I come across has something amazing to contribute to my life. Every person, no matter who it is. I've learned a great deal from my students. I've learned a great deal from them, and they've learned a great deal from me. We learn from one another. And what people are investing in is my wisdom and the time that they're going to be spending with me for them to be able to see themselves. That's what they're investing in. That's the education. That's the information. This is the process. Intention is so important. It is such a powerful thing. And to bring it into the verbal space is, I think, is one of the most powerful things we have as human beings, is the spoken and written language that we have. Body language is wonderful. I can't, it may be a little challenging for me to get the full detail on your intention, just the way you show up or the way you look or the way you posture physically. When you can explain something to me in words, it's powerful, because I can get into details and I can volley with you on it. And what else? I intend to do this. Is there anything else? Yeah. And I intend to do this, this, and this, and this. Is there anything else? Well, yeah, and this, and this. And we can get granular so the person can actually see what they want to do. They can actually visualize it in their mind. They can actually bring that to the forefront of their consciousness. Somebody says something to me like, yeah, my intention is to heal my inner child. I'm like, okay, tell me more about your inner child. Well, it's a little boy, and, he's about 6 years old, and he's scared, and blah, 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 and on and on and on. Okay, well, what does that little boy want to do? How does that little boy want to feel? Where does that little boy want to go? Does he want to be smiling? Does he want to be with his parents? Does he want to be driving a school bus, airplane, president of the United States, whatever? I don't care. Does he want to be a shaman, a guru? What does he want to be? And when we get granular on that, you can get into your intention. Well, I intend to have my inner child feel protected and safe, but we can get down to that. And then when a person is in an experience, when a person is being coached, be that in a psychedelic experience or out of a psychedelic experience, when a person is being supported, you can just ask the questions to bring them back to their intention. And they have the answers. And I say this all the time in all our podcasts. I say this in all of our seminars. There is one thing in this world that I would love for all human beings to know, is that you know everything that you need to know. You do. You've been taught how to talk yourself out of knowing, meticulously talking yourself out of knowing what you know, out of following the signals that your emotions show you to go to, out of following your inherent knowledge that your heart, your intuition tell you to go to. You know what you need to know. All I got to do is ask the questions. And sometimes that's the thing, is to ask the questions. Holding space is the skilled act of witnessing someone in their experience. I can hold space. Now, if I'm facilitating, it's the skilled act of supporting someone in seeing themselves in their deepest way as easily as possible in the moment. And sometimes the easiest thing possible is still pretty challenging for people. It's easier for them and it's easier for you as a coach if you know what their intention is. It's a very, very powerful place. So remember the 4 INs process, y'all. Intake, intention, in space, integration. Intake, intention, in space, integration. It's all one process and it goes like a wave. So if the bottom of the wave is intake and you get to the top of one side of the wave and it's intention, and then the other side of the wave is in the space itself. And then you come back down to the baseline for integration. And then you're at the baseline and you start to come back up on the intake. Intention, in space, integration. And it's just this wave. Intake, intention, in space, integration. Intake, intention, in space, integration. It's just like a wave, right? And it's just this wave of life. And you consistently do that over and over again. We're doing it anyway. Integration is not optional, and that's why we built this whole mission behind integration is not optional, because you're doing it anyway. You're always doing an intake, whether you're aware of it or not. And this is the thing. Can you pull yourself into a space of awareness of your intake? You're always doing an inventory on something. Your body's always taking information from the things surrounding you. You always setting some kind of intention. Well, I want this. I want to do this. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to work. There's an intention. It may be a weak, slippery, intention. But are you setting an intention from an awareness space, or is your intention outside of your awareness? I'm going to walk to the store. Is that your intention? Well, no, I'm just going to walk to the store. No, that you intend to walk to the store. Yeah, okay, so you intend. And if you're in the space, you're in the space of interaction with your environment. You're in space of interaction with your mentors. You're in space of interacting with your children. You're in space of interacting in a psychedelic experience. You're in space of being coached. We're always moving through different spaces. And then integration is, how do you take the information that you got from intake, intention, and in space and apply that to your day-to-day life moving forward? Really, really simple and comprehensive. You can plug anything into that process. Anything. And I invite you to take it and plug everything in your life into that process. And then track yourself. Track yourself in those spaces and see what happens. See what comes up for you. It's a very powerful space. So harnessing the power of intention is a wonderful space. I invite you to lean into it and dive deep into it and know that you have the power to harness intention, and you have the power to influence your experiences with intention. I know you love this, and this is very helpful for you. I'm inviting you to make it helpful for someone else. Please share this with 10 people. We're up here doing our best to make sure that everybody gets this into their atmosphere. We do this for our coaches, and we do this for the other people who are listening to it, who are not professional coaches, but are coaching people and coaching themselves. So please pass this on. The power of intention is so, so very important. I love you. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another beep podcast. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend, y'all. I love you and I appreciate you. I love you so much in ways that words just don't do any justice. So until the next time, y'all, be free and remember,
integration is not optional.